What's up everybody? Sean Profera here with Roland DGA, and in this video we're going to be talking about UV ink and the applications that are associated with utilizing UV ink technology in the Roland MG and LG series printers. First of all, how does UV ink technology differ from other ink technologies, such as maybe eco-solvent or latex? The easiest way to describe it is these other ink technologies usually use some sort of coatings to the materials and or heat that's involved to allow the ink to bond to the media or the rolls that are fed through the machine. UV differs in the way that it uses light. Both the Roland MG and LG series printer cutters are utilizing UV LED lamps to cure the ink directly to whatever roll is run through the device. So that opens up such a large range of materials that we can now print on, because essentially there's no cure time and there's an immediate bond between the ink and the media. Much like other ink technologies, we're utilizing a lot of the same colors to produce the images and the graphics or the designs on these different types of medias or different roll goods. So specifically in the MG and the LG series by Roland, we're utilizing that CMYK configuration in addition to some special colors for an extra wide color gamut, as well as gloss and white ink. And why is this important? Well, because again, we can print directly to a lot of different substrates that other ink technologies can't. We can use clear ink, such as gloss or a varnish in both machines, and white. And traditionally with UV ink, the UV ink is a bit more opaque than say a water-based or an eco-solvent ink. So this gives us another advantage when printing on several different types of materials. So for instance, if we're printing on a clear material, laying an underbase of white allows a lot more color pop or opacity to the graphic laid on top. And in addition to that, we can kind of flip that upside down and do an overcoat of white if we're maybe doing what we call a second surface print or a decal that we're going to put on the inside of maybe a window or a car window or a storefront window. Just again, opening up such a large range of applications that other ink technologies really can't touch. How does this really stack up to some of the applications that are done with the other ink technologies, such as other Roland devices like our XG or XP eco-solvent printers that are really used for a lot of high color vibrant graphics and such? Well, again, with the UV devices, we got an orange and red ink to really extend the gamut. So we're really close when it comes to color compatibility and the vibrancy and wide color range that we can hit with eco-solvent units with our UV devices. Also, why does it matter if we can print and cut? Well, it brings all of that functionality into a single unit. So both the MG series as well as the LG series by Roland, we have the ability to print and cut all in that same device. So we don't really have a need for a separate offline cutter, a flatbed cutter in a lot of cases, if we're wanting to produce maybe some traditional decals, labels, stickers, or anything like that. Again, sticking with the applications that are compatible with UV, that maybe also might seem like it's doable with other ink technology. How does this again differ? Well, I mentioned the use of varnish or clear ink. And what that can do to our prints is we can add that to some of our traditional decals. We can add spot gloss or spot varnish to different types of graphics that we don't have the ability to do with other ink technology. And because this cures directly and immediately to that media or roll, we can continue to lay some texture down because we're now building ink up. We're just curing right on top of that layer under it and giving us a really cool effect in a lot of cases to offer just another level of decal or another level of design to our graphics. So in many cases, a UV printer cutter device by Roland could really complement someone's current workflow. If we're doing a lot of different applications, say with an eco-solvent device, maybe we're offering things such as banners, posters, and vehicle wrap applications where we need that eco-solvent technology for the flexibility and stretchability for a lot of those applications. But what if we really want to elevate our sticker game or our decal game, adding these extra elements of gloss and white? This is something that easily a MG300 or an LG300 would really help complement our current application offering. So it's not really in placement necessarily of our other device, but complementary too. Now we can just really elevate again those other applications that we were kind of doing maybe on our other device, but really taking it to a next level and really having a new offering that maybe your neighbor might not have. Another application that I'm quite fond of talking about when we're talking UV ink and different applications where UV ink really stands out, backlit signage. Backlit signage is very common throughout the sign and graphics shops. So why is UV work so much better for this than maybe a water-based ink or a solvent ink? Well, again, it's tying it back to the opacity of the ink, the density of the ink. We have a lot more control over utilizing a white layer if we're printing on perhaps a clear backlit material. We can control how much white opacity is there so that we have a good balance when we're talking about day and night signage. So whether we want to lay down a lot of white because we're on a clear, or we want to lay down little to no white because maybe we're printing on a white backlit, we want to again have that balance between day and night signage on a backlit material. So again, this UV ink is such a good option or solution when it comes to a lot of traditional sign and graphics applications. Now, what about applications that are not so traditional within the sign and graphics industry? How does this relate, or how does this UV ink technology benefit us outside of the box when we're talking about different applications? Well, if we look at actually what's being printed on the MG300 right here in front of us, we have actually a frosted BOPP film. And the image being printed on this, or this type of film, is widely known and commonly used throughout the packaging industry. So if you look at the design here, this is actually a potato chip bag. So for several prototyping aspects and applications or short run packaging for proof of concept, making sure our colors are right, everything looks good for prototypes and proofing, this is a common printer or a common application that can be done with the Roland MG or LG series. So because of that UV properties, where we can stick to almost anything, we're now putting a lot of unique medias through here. So it can be a BOPP film, it can be an acetate, it can be a Mylar, it could be a cardstock material. And because it's also a cutter, we can score that cardstock material to now make box prototypes before we go into full production. So looking at a totally different industry, a totally different market that we can target these machines for, or our end users can look at these as a good solution when it comes to packaging. So if you've got an application that you think would be a great fit for UV ink technology on one of Roland's MG or LG series print cut devices, such as packaging, leveling up your sticker game, or any weird application that traditionally other ink types might not be able to handle, please get a hold of your local Roland dealer today or visit us at rolanddga.com for more information.